As the nation waits for the court to release one or more opinions tomorrow, Justice Clarence Thomas warns that the basic trust that was part of how the Supreme Court works is now broken. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is another Declaration of Truth from your host, Terry A. Hurlbut. We're going to talk about what Clarence Thomas had to say and why it matters. We're also going to fill in some context that some people think they can drop where we can't see it, as they do all the time. Before I begin, I want to shout out to the sponsor of this channel, which is Conservative News and Views, link in the description. Be sure to check out the awesome CNAV Store. Scroll down near the bottom for that link. Lots of good merchandise there, including this t-shirt. Can you read it? The Trumpinator saying, "I'll be back." While I'm on the subject, I also want to shout out to another sponsor called BitNext. This is your replacement for Zoom, Slack, the Google G Suite, Microsoft Office 365, Dropbox, WeTransfer, and Chili Piper, among others. Unlike any of them, BitNext protects your content and conversations so well even the administrators can't see it. So this is your channel for secure comms, conferencing, cloud storage, and file sharing. Best of all, everything is back end, so you don't even need client software. If you have a browser, you can use BitNext. Follow the link and give them a try. 28 days free of charge. Can't beat that with a stick. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please maintain a respectful silence. The oldest living and longest serving member of the Supreme Court of the United States spoke out recently, and if you could listen to him, you would know he was speaking from the heart. On Friday the 13th, no less, he spoke at the Old Parkland Conference in Dallas, Texas. According to organizers, the conference exists, and I quote, to discuss alternative proven approaches to tackling the challenges facing Black Americans today, unquote. Clarence Thomas frankly worries how much longer we'll even have a Supreme Court. The leak of a draft majority opinion in Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization has changed the court forever. Here's a sample of what he said. Again, I quote, "In the past, if someone said that one line of one opinion would be leaked, the expose would be disregarded by the public as illegitimate," unquote. Unquote, Clarence Thomas. Now, I want to remind you that when that leak came out, I was skeptical. Very. I literally couldn't imagine anyone pulling a stunt like that. That is, until Chief Justice Roberts authenticated it. And sure enough, the justice went on to say, and again I quote, "The response would have been, 'Oh, that's impossible. No one would ever do that.'" Now that trust or that belief is gone forever. I do think what has happened at the court is tremendously bad. I wonder how long we're going to have these institutions at the rate we're undermining them. And then I wonder when they're gone or destabilized, what we will have as a country. And I don't think the prospects are good if we continue to lose them, unquote. And those are fox-trotting good questions. He also talked about how it feels to lose the trust the court had in fellow members, clerks, and other staff. Quote, "When you lose that trust, especially in the institution that I'm in, it changes the institution fundamentally. You begin to look over your shoulder. It's kind of like an infidelity that you can't explain it, but you can't undo it," unquote, Clarence, unquote. Clarence Thomas also had a few words for those who are carrying on in front of justices' homes. He says, quote, "Conservatives never resort to employing these intimidation tactics. You would never visit Supreme Court justices' houses when things didn't go our way. We didn't throw temper tantrums. I think it is incumbent on us always to act appropriately and not to repay tit for tat," unquote. And he's right. Even the Marches for Life always stopped on First Avenue East in front of the Supreme Court. Then the marchers dispersed, and no one ever talked about marching to people's houses. And in all the marches I personally attended, 4 of them, never once did anyone do anything violent. Those home protests, by the way, break a specific federal law against trying to intimidate a judge, any judge. Title 18, United States Code, Section 1507. I have a link in the description. Read it. Seriously, People can go to jail for this kind of activity for up to a year. Peaceful or not, they are illegal. Period. End of memo. Which is why the governors of Virginia and Maryland have written the U.S. Attorney General to say, hey, Miracle Buddy, do your job. But the White House is openly egging them on. On Tuesday, Jen Psaki tried to engage in some tu quoque. I have a link in the description to 2 tweets in succession by one Curtis Houck, showing her doing just that. Do you know what she said? She said, of course, violence, threats, and intimidation have no place in our society, but peaceful protests are acceptable. Hey, Tootsie Pie, read the foxtrotting law. This is called influencing the process of justice, and that's flatly illegal, plain as day. And then she says Republicans are silent on protests at school board meetings, abortion clinics, of Michigan officials, and at January 6th. Hey, Toots, maybe you don't want to admit that January 6th was a false flag pseudo-operation. The New York Times admitted that, quite by accident, of course. And the only violence at any of those school board meetings has been by overzealous guards. Actually, the school board protests have largely given place to upset board defeats in school elections, which is entirely right and proper. And as for the abortion clinics, we haven't seen any violence against them for more than 10 years. That kind of violence was never appropriate, and it has given way to watching them fold because no one will darken their doors anymore. But it's clearly a dark day for this country when a justice of the Supreme Court, maybe even the Chief Justice or one of their clerks, pulls a stupid, putrid stunt that has totally blown what fellow-feeling members of the court have. I said before, the conservative contingent of the court will never forgive that. Clarence Thomas gave the kind version. I'll let you imagine what Sam Alito would say if he felt that court decorum would let him say it. Trust me, you wouldn't want to hear that. Links in the description of the article to Title 18 United States Code Section 1507, to Jen Psaki egging people on to break that very law, and to conservative news and views. I have another link to the awesome online store and to BitNext, as I mentioned. And if you like what you've heard, you can like this video and subscribe to this channel. This is Terry A. Hurlbut delivering another declaration of truth and reminding you, let the truth set you free.